So we are back again with our color wheel, and even though we know that our primary mixing colors are magenta, cyan, and yellow, on this sheet we are going to be using red, blue, and yellow. That's fine. There's a couple things that we're going to talk about here. We've got our primary colors, our secondary colors, and then on here as well we also have tertiary colors. So you'll see our primary colors red, blue, yellow, secondary orange, violet, and green, and then in between there's yellow, green, yellow, orange, red, violet, blue, green. So with this, we're going to color it, and you can either use pencil crayons or crayons. I actually used a combination of both for this. Most of it is pencil crayon, but I couldn't find red, violet, or blue, green in my pencil crayon box, so I used crayons for that. But you may notice that the colors are a little more saturated on my red, my blue, and my yellow than they are on my violet, green, and orange. And violet, green, and orange are more saturated than my tertiary colors, and I'm just going to talk quickly about that. So when you color something in, it's easier to layer colors than to do one really thick layer all at once. So just like painting, it's easier to add thin coats of paint, let it dry, and then add more than to glob the paint on all at once, which is what I have done here with my pencil crayons. So my yellow orange is one coat of pencil crayon, my orange is 2 coats of pencil crayon, and my yellow is 3 coats of pencil crayon. So if I take my yellow orange pencil crayon here and I go over it again and press a little bit harder the second time, more color is going to deposit out of that, and it's going to look closer to the orange here. Then if I wanted to make it really deep, like the red and the blue and the yellow, I would go over it again and push a little bit harder this time. So instead of pushing hard the very first time, I'm layering it on so I don't have to push quite as hard, because my hand is going to get really sore if I have to push really hard for each single one, because I'd have to push really hard the first time. And layering it on just gives me a little bit less pressure to work with when I color that in. So that's what it looks like with pencil crayon. With crayon, it looks fairly similar. So here is my red violet crayon, and when you're depositing color with crayon, you're also depositing some wax. So you want to give it a really nice pressure, but not too much. So there's 2 layers, and then if I wanted to go in and do a much thicker coat, I could do that. And if you want to get fancy with it, you can also scrape the extra wax off in the end, and that's going to make it look a little bit nicer than just having the regular crayon left there. That just gets rid of all the little bits of white space that you can see in the violet and these other ones that are fully filled in. So with this is the color wheel, and it's a very accepted color wheel. If you wanted to work on mixing paints to get some of these secondary or tertiary colors, I would still recommend using magenta, cyan, and yellow. They will sort of work, but just like we did with our paints, they'll be a little bit muddier than if they were the regular one. So there we have it. Primary, secondary, tertiary colors.